All right, hey everyone. Welcome to the channel once again. Right, so if you're a student or you're just starting out in the world of databases, right, yeah, this series is made exactly just for you. All right, so sometimes you see databases can actually feel very complicated at first, but as time goes on, you get realize they're not that complicated as you thought, right? So don't worry, we're going to go everything through it together, like step by step. All right, so today we'll be starting with something really cool. So just get ready, right? That's Microsoft SQL server, right? The triggers in Microsoft SQL Server. Alright, so think of triggers like sounds like automatic reactions, right? Inside your database, yeah. So just like when you press a button and then all of a sudden a light turns on, a trigger actually makes your database respond instantly. Like when actually something changes, just like when you click a button, just like that. Alright, so in this video, I'll explain what triggers are, what they are used for, and show you how to create your very first trigger in SQL, right? Yeah, using SSMS, right? So I'm sure you have that installed. If you don't have that installed, check up here. You see a link to a video up here. You can just follow through and then you get that installed, right? So you don't need any advanced database knowledge, although you might need some, but not advanced. Alright, so I'll keep it very clear and simple. And by the end of this lesson, you understand how triggers can actually help you keep your data safe, enforce rules, and even build like more secure and smarter systems. So just get ready and start SSMS if you have it, and let's get all right into it. Alright, and before we start, right, yeah, if you find this helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Alright, thank you. So let's begin. Alright, so as you can see, I have my SSMS open right here, and I have some databases. When I expand this side, you can see I have some databases over here, right? So library DB and pilot DB, right? You create a new database for this section, right? So actually, when you talk about triggers, right, they are actually procedural code that get executed whenever an event occurs. So an event is anything that can happen in a database, right? So today, for instance, we'll be dealing with DML triggers, that data manipulation triggers. So triggers that are executed like that are called when you insert data, you delete data, or you update data, something like that. Alright, so first create a new query, right? Yeah, you'll be creating a new database from scratch. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to create a database, right, called the student DB. Alright, so first you're going to create our table, sorry, our database, right? So alright, so you create your database, right? So create database, and the name of the database will be student DB, right? So yeah, so student DB. Alright, so I've created a student DB database command completed successfully. Alright, we'll be using that later in this tutorial. Alright, so now I'm going to use the already built-in database that I have, that's PilotDB, to demonstrate something before I go to the other database that we just created. Right, that's the student DB. So I'm going to use the PilotDB. So use PilotDB, right? Use PilotDB. Okay, so execute. And you can see my scope over here has changed to pilot DB. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to insert a new record. Let me see how it is. So select all from inside a pilot DB. There's a table called pilots right here. So you can see that over here when you expand tables in this section. So select all from pilots, right? And you can see that over here pilots. So I'm going to see how the records in there are like. So we have a PID, name, age, nationality. Alright, so I'm going to insert into that table, right? So insert into pilots and then values. My first value will be my primary key, so currently, so I'll 15 comma and then the name. Alright, so uh Tyler Lockwood. Alright, and then the age, let's say 23. Okay, and then the nationality, let's say American. I'll just say American, and then the destination, let's say Mystic Falls. Okay, so when I insert this data, yeah, I've now added this record to it, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create this one, a trigger, right? That whenever I insert data, right, it will show me like the old table how it was before I inserted this record in it. So what I'll do is that to create a trigger, right, use the syntax create trigger, and then the name of the trigger, let me say I'll call it INS, right here, and then create trigger INS on which table. So on let's say the pilot table, and then for which operation are we creating it on? So for inserts, right? So whenever there's an insert, this trigger will called as begin. This is the syntax, and then the statement I want it to be executed. So select all from inserted. Yeah. So this will show me the updated this one record, right? So when I run this, it will create a trigger. Let me end this. Okay, so when I run this, this will be executed, right? So I created a trigger called ins. So which is whenever I insert a record, right? So the inserted that you have over here, it refers to a particular table that is temporarily created whenever um, a trigger is actually triggered, right? So you have two virtual tables like deleted and inserted. Yeah. So inserted contains the updated record, and then the deleted contains the old record. So since I've already created this trigger, I'll just insert some random data and see the outcome. So insert into pilots, 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 and values. I think the first one was let's say the primary key is 16, comma the name of the person. Let's say Felix K. That's the name, and then the age, if I'm correct. So let's say 555 years old, and let's say the nationality uh, Ghanaian, and then the destination. Let's make it just like the rest of New York. Okay. So when I run this, right, it actually showed me the record I inserted, right? Yeah. So that's how it's like, even though you won't see my difference previous when we inserted, it's like the same thing. So I'm going to give a much more clear example. So like I said, the database we created when we started, that's the student database, right? So the student database, so I'm going to use the student database. Those will give you a more detailed overview of how it works. So student db, yeah. And then when you can see my scope over here has changed to student db. So I remove this one, and then if I'm going to create a students table, right? So yeah, this is you can copy this one or just follow through. Yeah. So create table students ID column, name column, age column, GPA column. All right. So these fields, these are basic SQL syntax. You can follow through. So I'm going to create a student table, execute. It's done. All right. So I'm going to delete this one again, and then we're going to create an audit table. Right. So what you're going to do is I'm going to create a database, right? So that whenever somebody changes a record inside the students table, or inserts a record updates a record inside the students table, it will be logged over here automatically. You won't have to change everything or anything over here. It will automatically be logged. So that's how we can use triggers. We can use them for creating logs of your database systems, right? So that you know who did what, when, and all those stuff. So we're also going to create a GPA audit table. All right, so that's for this. Hope you understand all these ones, right? These are basic SQL syntax. I don't want to go into detail of it. When you are done, right? When you're done, yeah, like I said, you're not going to create a trigger. So this is a trigger. Create trigger and then trigger GPA change. So whenever somebody changes a GPA, right? So create trigger GPA change on which table? On the students table. All right. So after what operation? So after you can put 4 over here. You can also it's the same thing. So after updates, whenever there's an update, right, this will happen. It will insert into automatically into the GPA audit table, right? These records here. So insert into the GPA audit table these columns, right? And then the data that will be inserted, right, it's from here. So the D that you see here is from this side, the deleted, that virtual table I was talking about. Yeah. So whenever a trigger is triggered, right, yeah, there are two tables that are automatically created, the inserted table and the deleted table. So representing the deleted table with the D. So you can see that this d.student ID will be stored over here. d.gpa, it means the old record, right, before the person changes. So the deleted table stores the old record before the new record was inserted or updated. Yeah, so that's what. So the old GPA will have the deleted GPA. That's like the old GPA record, and then the new GPA will store the new GPA, which is stored inside the inserted virtual table, and then dates that that operation happened, right? Automatically you get calculated with this function gets dates. You don't have to worry about that. So I have to perform an SQL join statement on it. So inner join inserted I on d dots. Yeah, you understand this one. This is basic SQL. So I'm going to march into the details. So when we create this, you've created this trigger GPA change right here. So that's it, right? So now let's see. Let me insert something into the student statement. Let's see what will happen, right? So I'm going to insert a record. Since the trigger was created on updates, right? When I insert, nothing will be stored. So but when I update, I'm going to insert a record so that later I can update and we will see what will happen. So I'm inserting a random record. Okay, so this record has been added, and now I'm going to update this field. Okay, yeah, I'm going to update it. So let's we'll delete that later. So update uh students set uh the fields, let's say set GPA equal to, let's say, 4, where uh where the PID or SID, let me check. Okay, so from the course over, you can see it's all student ID. So I'll maintain the same way. So student ID. I don't know if I had that correct. Let's see. Student, yeah, okay, it's capital I, capital D. Okay, that's correct. So expression of Boolean types for sorry, another when student's ID is equal to 1. Sorry. So when I run this, okay, we are facing an error over here. It's evaluation of primary key conditional PK. Can you send to the key? Let me just. Sorry, it's because of this. I forgot to delete this one. Okay, so like I said, you have to delete this one first. So I think the rest executed. This one we're supposed to delete it, so don't worry about this one. So you can't insert a record that has the same primary key. That's the problem. So we've already created it. So when you check the audit GPA, this one, you can see that there will be a log, right? So select or from audit GPA audit, and then you can see over here there's a record over here. We didn't tamper with the table, it automatically sets this up. So there was an update of a student with the ID 1. From his GPA was changed from 3.50 to 40 on this date and at this time. So if this something like this, you can set it up for security login. So in case maybe a student hacks the school's database, they try to change their GPA from 3.50 to 4 point something 0, it automatically logs it, and later they will come and review it, and if they see suspicious, they will just come and investigate, and if possible they will rusticate you from the school. Okay, so this is one way of doing so. With triggers, right, you can do a whole lot of stuff, right? So I'm sure you can come up with ways and means, like ideas. It all comes from ideas. What can you do with triggers? So if you have any idea, you can drop it in the comment section, and if you work on any of them too, you can also drop your experience inside the comment section. All right, so back here, right here, we also have a trigger for GPA change. We've done that, and then trigger for validating GPA, right? So this trigger over here, right, it's a trigger that will prevent one from changing a GPA into a negative value, right? So what we do is that we create a trigger validate GPA and on the students table after inserts or updates, right? Since the person can either insert a new GPA student record with GPA or update an existing one. So as begin, right, if exists, so this if exists over here, right, it's trying to say that, okay, so this statement, let's take this statement inside this brackets first. So select all from inserted. That's the virtual table I'm talking about, right? Where GPA is less than 0 or GPA is greater than 4.0. You know GPA is between 0 and 4. So if there's a GPA which is a negative number, it's not possible. If there's a GPA greater than 4, it's not possible. So when it selects this one, in actual sense, if there's no GPA with this criteria, it's return no columns, right? Which means this statement will be false. So if exists, which means if it's this one statement, right, returns at least one row, then this should happen. It's raise this error. GPA must be between 0.0 and 4.0, right? You understand? And this the severity level. This one I won't talk about this, and this also I won't talk about this. You can just research on this. But normally this one is set to 1 by most developers as well. If exists, right, yeah, it will check if this one statement over here returned at least one column. It means to run this, right? So I'm going to create this trigger, and the name of the trigger is trigger validate GPU. All right, so execute. And I've created that trigger. Now let me see. Let me create a GPU with a new with a negative value, right? So what I'll do is I'll undo and see. Yeah. So this is the previous record. I'm going to update the student ID. Sorry, the student with the ID 1. Yeah, I'm going to change GPA to 25. You see, I'll get an error. So you can see it over here. GPA must be between 0.0 and 4.01. So that's what the raise error is used for. So if I uh, come back, we can see the message is specified over here. Yeah, and everything. So the informational and severity level. Okay, so I think this should take you through triggers. And if you have any problem understanding of this, you can drop your question in the comment section, and then we'll see how we can go by that. All right, so thank you for watching this video. Hope you found this helpful. Please don't forget to also like and subscribe if you found this helpful. All right, thank you.